Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ann Arbor Tonight's. I'm Zach Damon, and we are so excited to welcome our feature interview guest, the one, the only Mr. Giovanni Gambino. Folks, he's going to be talking about his new blockchain, MOBX. He's going to be talking about his upbringing in a mob family, and also he's going to be talking about his love for movies, his screenplays, and writing, as well as his Gambino Cigar brand. So please stay tuned. Welcome to Ann Arbor Tonight. I am Zach Damon. So excited to have you with us. We have the one, the only Mr. Giovanni Gambino. Hey, Giovanni, good evening, and thank you for joining Ann Arbor Tonight. How are you?
Thank you, Zach. I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me, Zach.
Oh my gosh, it is a pleasure. I mean, you're joining us all the way from New York City. How are things out there?
Hot. It's 100 degrees right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Crazy.
heat wave coming down. Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a lot of great things, Giovanni. So do you mind if we jump right in?
Oh, 100%. Let's
All
let's
right.
go.
So you grew up in a world that most people only see in movies or read about in books. So can you share what it was like growing up in a mob family? I mean, how did that shape your view of loyalty, trust, and family from an early age?
It's Zach, it's my family, it's a label. Remember that. It's the label that they put in the media, and they trying to use these labels, to trying to justify some labels like that. But it's more about loyalty, respect, and honor. Growing up as kids, of course, people, life depended on, respect and honor and loyalty. Their life was on the line because of those things, and they grew up, with, with the trust of friends, and you can't break these things, or else, you're gone, you know. So it's pretty different from what you see in the movies. Of course, it's all, movies are movies, but then when you experience it in real life, it's different, very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you. That's a very fair point. I mean, that it depended on survival. Uh, can you also talk about too, were there any moments in your childhood where you realized your life was very different from other kids your age? I mean, what kind of things did you see or experience that stood out when you look back now?
And well, growing up, like I said, I was a shepherd boy, so I was out with my grandfather, in the mountains, and then you know, uh, I've seen the rough part of it. I've seen the good part of it. Growing up, when you're surrounded by people that honor depends on it, and it's everything to them. It's serious. So you don't play around with it. You just can't play around with it.
No, absolutely. Um, and I really appreciate you touching on that because, I think, your experience helped you a lot today, but then a lot of your work today focuses on loyalty and brotherhood, especially with your latest project, MOBX, a blockchain syndicate where loyalty is everything. So I'm curious what inspired you to bring that old school mob code sort of into the modern digital world?
All right. So once again, it's an old world hierarchy ranking system that we put onto the MobX. Remember, the tools change, but the old world rules are still working today. They're still powerful today. Remember, empires were built on trust, so that trust is still works today. That trust, so it still works today. So we put on that our lifeline of MobX is based on loyalty, respect, and honor, which it works. And we have that, like I said, the old world ranking system, that you get paid with respect points. And if you don't abide by those rules, you're out. you're gone. You know.
Absolutely. So, I mean, for people watching that may not be familiar with blockchain or crypto, can you explain briefly, how MobX works and, how does it stay, true to the user and to those classic values?
Of course. So the blockchain, it's a jungle full of snakes. You have pump and fun. You have all these pump and fun hustlers that they don't care. They just don't care. They pump and fun, pump and dump. They pump and dump on you, those hustlers, and they don't care. Then you have those rug pullers that vanish with your money like a rat in a storm. So they really don't care. So I figure let's put a system together, where respect, honor, and loyalty is in place, where you don't do those things. We respect each other. We build a ranking system with paid by respect points. So you stick with that, and you just don't pull somebody else to have a few gains. It's just the blockchain is, unfortunately, just because it's decentralized, that doesn't mean you have to rip it off. You got to rip that off. So we put a system in place where it works. Honest system, a trustful system.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that those systems and, those old school values, will definitely separate your platform from others for sure. So I'm curious too, were there lessons from the mob that you feel, still hold true value today, even outside of that life? I mean, what's something you learned growing up that you carry with you in business and in relationships still?
What did I learn growing up is, to just respect one another. Just because someone is famous or is going viral, that you don't have to necessarily be there for that person because he's famous or is going viral. If that person is down, and needs a hand, just lift them up. You know what I'm saying? Just have respect for one another, and that's everything in life. Just respect one another. That's what growing up. That's what I've learned.
Absolutely. Really quick, you've also written, many different projects. You've written some books, different screenplays. How did you get kind of started, writing and, what was that process for you? And I mean, do you have other projects in the works? And was it more of a creative escape for you?
I've seen a lot of. I've heard a lot of stories, and I've seen a lot of good things and bad things. In other words, I was like 5 years old, and I was fascinated with movies, especially black and white movies, old movies. I was fascinated, and I would see their stories, and then I would hear stories and see stories myself. I say, what? Maybe I could write books, where I could, you know, m- build these characters, which is based on true characters, you know, change the names, change a few things, change a few scenes, but create books that are inspirational, inspired by true stories. So I started doing that at a young age, and I have now 15 books published. So I got a gift for that, and I developed that gift. Remember, Zach, everyone has a gift. God gave each and every one of us a gift, but it's up to us to discover what that gift is and develop on that gift. Some people spend their whole lifetime without discovering what their gift is, right? So I have a gift of writing. I have a gift of a businessman, sense of businessman. Creating things and being creative. So I developed that gift.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I hope a lot of these screenplays and books, one day can see their time on the big screen.
Well, it will happen.
What's that?
It will happen. Yes, it will happen.
Absolutely. Uh, Lastly, if you could sit down for dinner with any historical figure, mob related or not, who would it be and why?
Marcus Aurelius. It was the Roman emperor, and he was a philosopher also and a writer, just like me. So he had a pretty good codes of respect, honor, and loyalty, just the way I envision things. So Marcus Aurelius, it was very good emperor, a writer, a philosopher, and he had that power of a mind. You have to have power of your mind in order to do certain things, and have also positivity in your mind. To talk to people. He had that loyal sense and the respect sense and the honor sense that he put in place for the Roman Empire at his time. So he was very good at doing things. Very good. But
Absolutely. Marcus Aurelius, amazing choice. And again, I think shares a great commonality with you as a writer. He is a writer as well. Very interesting. And then, of course, for I wanted to give a shout out to, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about Gambino Cigars. I know you guys launched that a little while ago. Do you want to talk about that?
the best cigars in the world. Remember, Cuban cigars are overrated. Cuban cigars are overrated. So and expensive too. So you get my cigars with the best quality and very less expensive than the Cuban cigars, and they taste better than the Cuban cigars. So once again, I surrounded myself with the right people. I got my blender from the Dominican Republic, Alfredo. Is a great blender, and people came to me. They wanted to do these cigars. I said, all right, let's do it. And I got the best of the best to create these. The cigars are phenomenal. That's
Absolutely.
GambinoCigars.com. Check it out. And it's affordable. So when I say affordable, sorry, so there's a cigar, there's a Cuban cigar that's $120. And I have these cigars pretty much taste the same blend for $20. So it doesn't hurt your pocket.
Absolutely.
So I feel, listen, I came from poverty too. So, my father back in the 1940s when he was born during the World War II, they lived their whole life, so I understand what it feels like. So for those cigar smokers that want to smoke a good cigar, but, that they want to afford it, it's my cigar, the Gambino Cigars.
There we go. Thank you so much. And I hope to definitely try one. I'm a cutter, not a poker myself. Absolutely. So I want to get into finally, how can viewers keep up with MOBX and the latest projects and everything you have coming up? I mean, where can they follow you and learn more?
Yeah, they got to tune in to MobX.family. We have a website, we have Telegram, we have Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So every day we update people. Well, every day we update people about what we're doing tomorrow, what we're doing the next day. So come on to the website, MobX.family. Go on Telegram, on Instagram, and YouTube channel. We have all the socials. Share, like, and share. And let's get rich.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Giovanni Gambino, thank you so much for joining Ann Arbor tonight. We appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much. All the success to you for every venture that you got going, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Zach, for having me. Thank you. And good luck. Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
All right. I'll talk to you.
All right. Thank you so much, folks, for joining Ann Arbor tonight. That is our feature interview for the evening. I'm Zach Damon. Please feel free to like, follow, and subscribe to all Ann Arbor Tonight happenings on socials. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.